Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins. How y'all doing today?
I think we're doing all as well as can be expected. JP and I, JP and I went to cool our jets. We went across the back alley there to the fine Creek Monkey in downtown Martinez.
That's true.
Yeah,
this is a true story.
we went and had a few beers. I knocked back a few pints of Evil Twin, and JP had some other brewery's beer and lunch. And
I don't recommend it. Just only drink heretic beers.
Yes, just to get greased up for the show, and it was very lovely. And owner there, bar manager's there, went over and had a good time, and it's a great place. A lot of fun and good beers. So,
I'm looking forward to eating there next time.
Yeah. If you, I think at some point, I think the Brewing Network is going to invite like members of the live audience to come down and hang out and watch the show being done, and then you go over to Creek Monkey, knock back a few beers.
Well, let's not get out of hand.
Quite the experience.
No one wants to deal with the live audience.
Well,
they're all homebrewers, for God's sake.
The point being, I think if you come down and hang out at Creek Monkey, I think there's a pretty good chance of seeing some Brewing Network people over there.
That's true. You're absolutely right about that.
That is the local watering hole to the new fine Double D Studios in downtown Martinez, and parking, free parking. If you go down, I discovered if you go down to the corner of Crack and Hoe, there's free parking down there, and it's really not far from the studio. I walked from there through the lovely, there's nice shaded pedestrian walkways, and very beautiful when you're in the parking metered area. If you get into the free parking area, not quite as lovely. Yeah. So what's up with you, Monsieur Palmer?
Oh, well, let's see. Just kind of taking my July break here before we head down to Disney World with the family.
What?
Yeah.
What? Going to big Disney World for a full 7 days.
See, the weird thing here is
pass.
You live like 30 minutes from Disneyland.
Yeah,
the original, the best, and you're going to fly across the country to go to Disney World. It's like
because it's not in my backyard.
It's like
there for exotic.
You got the hot wife that you're banging on a regular basis. And then there's some skanky hoe. This is the premise of Fatal Attraction, by the way.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
dude's riding a Harley every day, and then he goes out with Glenn Close, essentially like a moped, a Vespa, because it's different, And so you're going to Disney World just because it's different, Well,
I understand they have born dwarves at Disney World and Disneyland.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I took the kids to just got back last night. Not even like 12 hours ago or 13 hours ago. I got back from Europe. I took the kids out there for 2 weeks.
So you're in Brew Strong withdrawal there, huh?
Yes. And so I emailed you guys. I'm like, hey, let's do some shows real quick.
I need some man time.
I need some beer. We went out and we did Germany, Belgium, England. Stopped by Cantillon, had an awesome time. It was
wow.
Just and my oldest daughter's 18, and we're in Belgium. we're at Cantillon. I'm like, well, you're old enough to drink.
No, wait, she's 18? I didn't know that.
She's 18. Yeah, hey, watch yourself.
Shit.
And so, I'm like, you guys get the samples. My youngest daughter wouldn't even get me the sample so I could drink it. She's like, no. I'm like, oh, she's like, you got enough beer. But my oldest daughter, she's like, oh, yeah, I'll try it. So she tried the beers of Cantillon. She's tried other beers before, didn't really care for them. The beers of Cantillon, she enjoyed. She was like, yeah, that's actually really good.
Really?
So she totally got into it. And she liked the beers of Cantillon, and then we hit a couple other places in Belgium, and what she loved were all the Lambic beers. So the Gueuze, the Faro, we tried some Kriek, some Pêche, some Framboise, and those are all the ones that she really enjoyed. She's like, yeah, these are good. They don't taste like the other beers that you've had me try. So
wow, that's gonna. She's definitely got her bar set pretty high, huh?
Absolutely. So and then my planning for a cool ship at Heretic came to pass. I'm like, all right, so we need a cool ship. we need to spontaneously ferment. I told Chris about it today. He's like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever you want. All right, we'll do it. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Now you've got some international travel coming up for you, don't you?
Yeah, I'm heading to Buenos Aires in August. August 16th, the weekend of the 16th, 17th, 18th
of month, year. Come on, people are listening to this on podcast
every month.
August 2012 here. I'm heading to Buenos Aires.
Nice. And what are you going to do there?
Well, I'm going to star in the remake of Evita. And
yes.
Is that right? I think so. But anyway, I'm going down for their Argentinian homebrewers, craft brewers conference.
Nice.
And looking forward to speaking on several topics and seeing all my friends from Brazil and Buenos Aires that were up at the Brazilian conference too. So it should be a great time.
You're quite the international traveler now.
I'm getting to be. I have yet to go to Europe, unfortunately, but hopefully that will come along. And in one of these years, maybe our Canadian neighbors will invite us up there.
Yeah, you're doing all the south of the border stuff. You did Mexico and Brazil and now Buenos Aires. You're having quite the south of the border experience. Yeah, what's up with the Canadians? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, they're Canadians.
I love you guys.
They have invited me, but nobody's offered to pay. So I'm like, well, hey, I'm cheap. What are you going to do?
Me too.
You're cheap?
I'm cheap.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what's not cheap.
It's a long way to walk.
I'll tell you what's not cheap. The quality of a Blickman engineered brewing system.
That's right.
Those top tiers, that's top tier stuff.
They are.
That's innovation for your home brewing. Innovating your home brew.
That is true.
Blickman Engineering. Check them out. Blickman with 2 N's, engineering.com. Yeah, they've been a long-time sponsor of this show, and great folks there. Got a chance to hang out with them some more at the conference in Seattle. And like always, the more I hang out with these guys, the more I like them. Great group of folks. Friendly, funny, constantly thinking about engineering type things, and really interested in just being a great member of the community. And I think that's why they sponsor this show. So very cool. Show them your support. Show them your love. Go to BlickmanEngineering.com and check out what the stuff they have to offer. They're always coming up with new stuff. Check it out. And make sure you email them and tell them how much you appreciate they pay for the show, since you don't have to. That's all you got to do. I'm not asking you to spend any money. Just go out there, check out their stuff, send them an email, tell them what you think, tell them you appreciate it. That's all I want you to do. Just tell them how much you love it. So, good stuff. BlickmanEngineering.com. Well, speaking of other good stuff, we're going to continue our progasm. So,
yes,
our last 3 shows, we talked about the brewing as a business. The type of thinking you have to have going into this type of business. what's rational, what's crazy. That was our first show. Then we talked about getting started, making your commitment, all the things that you need to do in order to make a brewery successful. And we got into the type of brewery and the location of the brewery, and how the location really plays a big part of what kind of you need to decide what kind of brewery you're going to do, packaging or retail, how your location plays into that. Makes some big impact on what you're going to do.
Yeah, plan for success, but don't out-plan yourself and plan into a hole.
Yeah, you have to. It's a real balancing act. I'm looking at buildings for our new brewery, and it's like, okay, so you can have 60,000 feet. Okay, well that should handle our growth, but I really can't afford that, now. Or you can have 2,000 feet. I can afford that now, but not enough room for growth. You need to find the right size. You need to plan for, how you're going to expand. It's like, well, what's the next unit over to us? Can I have first right of refusal on renewing their lease? When their lease comes up, can I have first shot at it versus something else? So you need to take all those things into account when you're dealing with locations. Maybe we should get into that some more going forward when we get into it's the whole options on the lease. I've been negotiating leases now for a couple of months, and there's all sorts of things that you need to that you can throw in there or not. Maybe we need a separate show on that. I don't know. Once I get this lease signed, maybe we should do that.
Don't want to jinx it.
All right, no. All right. So today, though, what we're going to talk about is financials, and this is pretty much the hardest part for most folks. But we're going to kind of delve into how you get this money. What kind of options do you have? How much money do you need? How do you figure out how much money you need? We're going to get into all that. All right, let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the financials part and have a lot more fun on our program. Back after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your home brew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. This is Jamel Zanishev, and I want to tell you about Heretic Evil Twin. You might be familiar with my homebrew recipe, which uses massive late hopping to create a balance between the malty sweet and the hoppy bitter, along with an outrageous malt and hop character. I wanted a beer with the same bold hop and malt character, so we played around with the homebrew recipe until we were able to make a great commercial version too. We've created a beer rich in malt character, full of caramel, toast, biscuit, and an ever so subtle roast note. On top of that, we piled in an insane amount of Citra and Columbus hops at the end of the boil, as well as in dry hopping. This damn-the-cost approach to hopping gives Heretic's Evil Twin a great blast of citrus and tropical fruit that can't be matched by any other hop. The result is a bold, malty, hoppy, but easy-drinking beer. This is our top seller, our flagship beer, and I couldn't be prouder of it. Cheers.
To find Heretic beers near you, click on Find Some at hereticbrewing.com.
Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like pub discounts that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and eZymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love. And access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your home brewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join right now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
Hi, this is Push from the Brewing Network, and I want to tell you about the Brewmaster's Warehouse and how you can get 10% off your next order. I'm a pretty techie guy, but I've never seen an online store like this. It's awesome. Go to brewmasterswarehouse.com and click on Brew Builder. You can whip up a custom recipe so easily even Sven could do it. Seriously, it's slick. You can share your recipe with your own logo and notes to the Brewmaster's database if you want. And the best part, it keeps a running tally of the beer you're building while you're doing it. Then, bam, click Buy Recipe, and your cart is filled and ready to go with helpful suggestions in case you forgot something. This thing is amazing. Brewmaster's Warehouse is run the way a home brewer would do it, with great service, fast turnaround, and $6.99 flat rate shipping. Brewmaster's Warehouse and the Brew Builder blew me away. Check it out today at brewmasterswarehouse.com. I'm serious. And don't forget to put BNARMY in the discount code box for 10% off your order. Check out brewmasterswarehouse.com. Cheers.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. I think the premium subscribers should get the extra download of all the in-between conversations we have during the breaks.
Should just be
they would learn the whole manscaping, and I mean, it was like 5 minutes of manscaping.
And the real reason why John Palmer's going to Brazil all the time.
Right, for that waxing. Yeah.
No. He needs to find a Speedo. I'm sorry, John, I told your secret. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
Thanks, buddy.
It's okay. It's okay, JB. Don't cry. It's okay. It's all right. It's gonna be just fine. Gonna be just fine. All right.
You make me feel better.
All All right, so we're talking the Progasm. If you're looking to open your own brewery, this series of shows is for you. A lot of people are interested in it, but have not had a chance to kind of have any sort of education in doing it. And one of the toughest parts for most breweries breweries in planning is financials. First off, they don't know how much they need, and once they figure out how much they need, they don't know how to get that money. It's like, and that's probably the thing that stops most breweries. It's like, well, where am I going to come up with $1 million to open a brewery?
It's kind of like dating, really, when you think about it.
It is. You need $1 million to get someone to date you?
Well, the right ones you do.
Yeah. I spent $1 million, I drop it like that, those women, no. What do you mean? What do you mean, John?
Take the mentor to take you into the wing, and give you that inside advice on don't put your money there, put it over here, or you're gonna need way more than that kind of thing.
I still don't understand what that has to do with dating. You have a different definition of dating than I do. I think that may be the case.
Never mind.
Right. I was trying to work with you there.
I was trying to
in the weeds there.
Get into but it didn't work. So we'll just move on.
Okay. All right. So again, this is the hardest part for most startup breweries, and the couple of things that you're going to need to keep in mind overall is, a lot of times when you're trying to determine how much money you need, the thing is, people just look at the startup. They look at, all right, so I need, X number of dollars to buy my brew system. I need X number of dollars for fermenters. I need X number of dollars for kegs. I need, this, that, the other thing. And, they look up at their startup money. You need more money than it takes to just get past for the startup phase. You need to get past the startup phase. You need to have operating capital to run you at least a year into the thing. You might get by with a year. 2 years would be ideal. A year might work. 6 months is really pushing it. You need your operating capital, because keep in mind, when you first get started, you need to lease a building or own a building, and then you need to do all sorts of retrofits, things like that. That's one of the things you can do in the lease is you can tell your landlord before you sign the lease. You say, well, it's going to take me 3 months to do the type of retrofit I need to do before I can actually start operating my business. I want you to give me the first 3 months rent free. Then I'll start paying rent at the beginning of month 3, or on the 4th month, and so on and so forth. And most landlords are quite open to that, because they realize that you're not generating any revenue off that property. They want you to be in business and be able to pay your rent. So if it takes a few months for that startup thing, right there, that can save you a considerable amount of money off of your startup costs and your running costs. But
I didn't realize they'd do that.
Oh, absolutely. They're open to anything as long as it makes financial sense, and that's one of the easiest things to get, and a very common request, because the building's sitting empty right now. If they don't rent it to you, it's still going to sit empty for another 3 months before they can rent it. So, unless it's a really hot market, so they'll go ahead and give you those 3 months for free just to lock you in to doing it. And they realize that if you need to bear those costs during your setup time, it can bleed you dry.
Okay, it makes sense. Yep. Yeah, because you also got to pay salaries, I guess, for anybody that you hire.
Right. Your own salary if you've quit your job. Anything else you need, utilities. If you've got a loan that you're taking out in order to get some of this equipment or something like that, you need to start paying on the loan. Although there's ways to delay the startup of some loans, or pay interest only for initial part, or things like that. But the point being, you really need to pay attention to not only your initial costs of getting into a building, but the money to run for a certain amount of time. And you'll get into your building, you'll do all your trench drains, your utility upgrades, you'll get your cold room in, you get all this stuff in there. It takes time, 3 months down the road for that. You'll get running, you'll get your malt in, maybe it's a couple extra months until your license gets through. Maybe there's a problem with your ABC license or your TTB license. And we'll talk about licensing in the next show. But maybe there's a problem with that delays you a couple more months. And you need to be, and now you're paying your rent. So you need to be able to, survive those kinds of problems. And then once you do brew beer, you need to brew it, you wait for it to ferment, you got to package it, you got to start selling to accounts, and then some states it's cash on delivery, and you'll get your cash immediately, but some states it's 30 days. In California, retailers are allowed 30 days. You can demand cash on delivery, but a lot of places want to run 30 days, so there's an extra 30 days before you get your money out of it. And it can take some time. It can take months and months and months to start getting revenue flowing in. So you need to be prepared to withstand that period of no revenue coming in. Don't assume that the minute you open those doors, you're going to have revenue. And I think that's a common problem for a lot of startup breweries.
So. How much money ballpark are we talking for the different kinds of breweries? For small brew pubs, 5-barrel or 10-barrel systems versus 20. You started out with a 20, was it? Or a 30?
It's a 30-barrel brew house. Well, and it depends. We talked about this in one of the previous shows. The type of brewery that you're setting up. If you're doing contract brewing, then your initial outlay is much smaller. If you're going to do, a shared brewery, an alternating proprietorship, or a kind of leasing space in another brewery, that's a little bit more expensive, depending on how much of the equipment you buy yourself. And then there's the traditional brewery where you're, buying everything yourself from day one. That really, really adds up. So. Your expenses are going to vary there. Now, I can tell you, going to open our new facility for Heretic, I need about $1 million to do that. It's, the brew plant.
I got you, Boo. Don't worry about it. I got you covered.
All right.
You're welcome, man.
I see you cracking open your wallet there. I appreciate that. All the building improvements, just all the ancillary equipment, forklifts, and extra little labware and things like that. You really add up. So about $1 million is right for that. 30-barrel, capable of producing right out the gate. 5,000 barrels. That's about right. You can do it for less. Different places, of course. Used equipment. Used equipment is very hard to find right now. So that's one way of sizing it. Now, if you're looking at a nano, which I know a lot of you guys out there are looking at, I still, you can put together a homebrew system for a few $1,000s, of good size. You can, your kegs, your fermenters, not too much for the building. If you're not paying yourself, then maybe you can get away with like $25,000 or $30,000, something like that. If you're looking at a brew pub, the restaurant aspect of it becomes really pricey. A full kitchen, dining room, all the food, the staff for that becomes very expensive. The brewery part, is an added expense to that. I think if you're looking to open a brew pub with a full-on restaurant, I would look for an existing restaurant that's gone out of business where you can go ahead and take over their kitchen. I've come across a couple of things. If I wanted to open a brew pub, came across one that's beautiful, sports bar type of thing, restaurant, 5,000 square feet, fully operational restaurant, and they're willing to get rid of it for like $5,000 a month, $1 a foot rental on the entire thing, fully operational restaurant. and then you throw in your little pub operation there, you can find tremendous deals like that. And if I wasn't so focused on, being a production brewer and afraid of the whole brew pub experience, then I think you could get a tremendous deal. Like if you know the restaurant business and you feel confident in that, I think you can find some great deals where people just don't know how to run a restaurant, and go out and you can find some nice stuff and do that. So, a brew pub, it could be millions. It could be, a ton of money. If you're going with a smaller brewery, you go in 10 barrel, something like that, or a 15 barrel, and you're going just basic industrial property, you can get a smaller, place. I think you might get away with a few $100,000 in something like that if you find some used equipment and some operating capital. I think you could get away with that. But when you're looking for new equipment and 30 barrel size and all that, you get up there on some big bucks.
Do you find people underestimate the amount of money they need running into this stuff?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. How did you feel when reality hit and you're like, oh shit, I need
damn, I need to put in a lot more money than I thought. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I guess at that point, I mean, what's another? It's another few $100,000, right?
Right. It's like, just write a check for.
Just writing checks, dude. Who cares?
It's like, I'll just write a check for $10,000 to float us for this month. I'll just write a check for another $20,000 to float us for this month. So I'm writing all these checks from our personal stash, the retirement savings, not telling the wife when I'm writing these checks. I'm like, it's just like another 15. That'll float us to the next month. And I'm thinking, oh my God, and I'm tallying them up in my head. I'm like, at the end of the year, I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot of money. It really adds up. But
it's a great feeling when you're spending it, when you're writing the check.
Oh yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, all right, are we getting to a point where the money's flowing in faster than it's going out? And we got to that point, and we got that point in a year, in less than a year. So it was good. But it's freaky writing those checks out of your personal account and seeing all that money go and all that money you've saved. And
how many zeros?
Right. Shit. You're just like, wow. And it just adds up because it's, it's 10 one month, 20 another month, 15. And, every month you're doing that. It's like, that's a lot of money. So, it goes pretty quick. All right, so a lot of people go, well, you had the money to do this. I didn't have all the money to do it. But, to get started, I had a portion of the money. And people say, all right, so I don't have the money. How do I get the money? And one of the things that I think is really critical to think about is, where you get that money and, how much control you have to give up for that money. Because, you might be able to go into something and have somebody provide the money and you give up 100% of the company. You're essentially an employee at that point, right? And I think for a lot of people, they don't want to be a brewery employee. They want to be a brewery owner. Or, some people, they want to be a brewery employee. It's like, well, then go be a brewery employee. Don't open your own brewery to be a brewery employee. Open your own brewery because you want that full control. So you need to be very careful that when you go to get your money, you're not giving up all of your control. I think it's very important for you to maintain at least 51% ownership so you can call all the shots, and also, to set expectations for the people you get your money from, that you're going to call the shots, that it's your brewery, it's your thing, it's your stamp, it's, the brewery represents what you want to do. Otherwise, just go work at a brewery, and if you want to just invest in a brewery, then go invest in a brewery. If you really want to own a brewery, then you need to maintain that control regardless.
That's a good point, because I know, our friend Steve Kinsey, when he got his financing, it was from an investor, up in their town, Lancaster. Mm-hmm. And I believe, I can't remember the exact arrangement, but it was such that in the contract, Steve would eventually, take full control of the brewery with inheritance rights for that business. So I guess all I'm saying is that kind of business relationship is also negotiable with your investors. That maybe they'll put up the money in the beginning, but as they're paid back, then they relinquish controlling interest in the brewery.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Again, all this stuff's negotiable no matter where you're getting the money. There's nothing set in stone a lot of times. Sometimes SBA loans, things like that, they have certain rules that they need to follow, and that can affect the language of your deal. But when you're trying to get money from, let's say, family and friends, you have a lot more flexibility. And I think it's just very important to set expectations from the beginning, who's running things and who's not. And, that can affect, how you're getting your money. Speaking of family and friends, there's a couple of things to be aware of. When you want to, get investors, if you're looking at an investor that is owning more than or 10% or more of the company, they need to be checked by the TTB and ABC as well, at least in California and for the feds. They want to see that those people are not, certain kinds of criminals, that their money wasn't from, you'll need to prove that their money didn't come from some sort of criminal enterprise. If they've had any previous problems with alcohol licensing, if they had a bar or something like that and, was shut down for some sort of problems, things like that, you can't have those people invest in your business. It's going to be a problem. So you need to make sure that the money that you're getting is coming from a source that, is, clean and not crime-derived. And they ask you to prove that the money isn't coming from any sort of, mafia or something like that. And so that's kind of the magic 10% rule is anybody that's 10% or more, they're going to need all their background information, social security number, all that stuff, and you submit that along with your paperwork, and they get, they go through the scrutiny as well. So for some people, maybe they don't want to, be in that group, then you want to keep them below 10%. 20% is your next magic mark when you're getting money from people. When you own 20% or more of a corporation like this, a close corporation, any loans that are made to the corporation, any individual that has 20% or more equity in the company is required to personally guarantee the debts of the company. So if you think you're going to get a loan from the SBA or anywhere and not personally guarantee it with your own house and cars and everything you own, you're mistaken. Unless your company is really solvent and doing great and you don't really need the money, they're going to ask you to personally guarantee it. So anybody 20%, if you have any investors that are, have a lot of funds and they don't want to risk everything they own, they're going to want to be, below 20%. A lot of times when you go for things like SBA loans or something like that, they have the option to ask you or to tell you that all those other people need to guarantee the loan as well, personally guarantee the loan. So that can happen, when you're going for that kind of financing, SBA loans, city loans, things like that. And because these people are going to get scrutinized, you don't want any felons. You don't want those people, especially alcohol-related felonies or import-export felonies or things like that, or stock trading felonies. You don't want those kinds of people investing in your business because that may actually stop you from getting your licensing. So you need to be kind of careful of that. Let's see here. So I talked about loans briefly. SBA loans. Yeah,
Jamil. In terms of family and friends investing in a brewery, is it? And I guess that maybe this comes down to just individuals, but is it typical to expect some kind of return on the investment, in terms of percentage, or is it more common in the beer business to just do a straight payback kind of thing?
Well, that's an interesting question, and any small business can't. If somebody in a small business guarantees you any sort of return, they're lying to you. And I've had people that wanted to invest, and I told them, it's like, okay, well, you can invest, and here are the numbers, and they're like, well, what's my return? It's like 0. You buy in, and if you think we're going to be wildly successful, then that's up to you. You would make money off of that. Your equity later on is going to be huge. But I'm not going to guarantee any return to anybody, because that would be dishonest. Because as much as I like to think, I've projected my numbers, and I look at our growth and things like that, and I think, oh well, for me it makes worlds of sense, and I'm real excited. I can't guarantee that to anybody. Who knows what's going to happen? There's possibility we're out of business tomorrow. So, I can't guarantee any return. Now, we'll get into kind of stocks and, things. There's this thing called a Reg D offering, and there's ways of structuring that with preferred stock versus common stock. And that, we'll get to that after the break, but that's a good way of, you can do things like kind of guarantee a return if you guys are successful. Let's do this. All right, so SBA loans, city loans. Sometimes cities will have a loan fund for developing business. What I did is contact all the cities around me and ask them which ones were most interested in seeing our brewery locate there. And then, they're like, yeah, we got a little bit of money, we can loan you, things like that. That's a good thing to do. Redevelopment dollars. In California, all those went away. Before that, they had tons of money to give away. Some states may still have redevelopment funds. Again, contact the cities and ask them, hey, what can you help me do to locate a business there? And there's a thing called the Grow America Fund. They work with cities to leverage cities' loan funds to expand them greatly and loan you money to grow your businesses. And then there's the cloud funding, the get on the internet and having people donate $5 a piece and do those things. The rules are changing on those as well. And it's kind of related to Reg D offerings. So let's do this. Let's take a short break. And when we come back, we'll get into stock offerings and Reg D and all that. Back after this.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in a can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack can.
7 short minutes off California State Route 101, there lies a secret oasis for all craft beer lovers.
It's Relax Grillin' and Chillin', bro!
Relax Grillin' and Chillin' in Hollister, California is a craft beer lover's dream come true.
Not like a creepy JP dream. Like a normal craft beer lover's dream.
30 taps pouring your favorite craft beer. Visit Relax Grillin' and Chillin' on Facebook to see the most up-to-date beers and what's on the grill.
And let us grill so you can chill.
Angus burgers, filet mignon, and ribeye steaks, dogs and sandwiches, and more. Great food, great beer in a place where you can kick back and relax. Tuesdays are brewery nights. Come in to celebrate, and you're not limited to enjoying your favorite brew at the restaurant. Relax Grillin' and Chillin' has beer to go. Relax Grillin' and Chillin'. Let them grill so you can chill.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your homebrew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew. This summer, Reed Antis from New York won fully paid tuition to the 2012 World Brewing Academy Concise Course in Brewing Technology, thanks to Lallemand and Danstar and their 2012 Beer School contest. It was so much fun, they're doing it again. Announcing Danstar's Beer School 2013 contest. From now until December 13th, 2012, every time you use Lallemand or Danstar Premium Brewing Yeast, your empty packet is your entry for a chance to win a professional brewing course. In the Beer School 2013 contest, Lallemand will sponsor 2 lucky winners, 1 professional brewer and 1 home brewer, in a random drawing for fully paid tuition to the 2013 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth nearly $4,000. This course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Get your official entry form and rules at danstaryeast.com. Get brewing with the dry yeast advantage from Lallemand and Danstar. Visit danstaryeast.com.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of our 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Our Williams Belgian Pale Extract is mashed with pure Belgian 2-row malt and a small percentage of Belgian wheat malt for an authentic Belgian character you just can't get from other extracts. Or check out our unique fermenters, 2.5-gallon kegs, paintball tank-based draft beer equipment, bottling aids, and much more. We even have our own line of precision hydrometers. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse our vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right. Hey, one thing I wanted to tell you guys about is the AHA, the American Homebrewers Association. I'm a proud member, lifetime member, and I've even been serving on the governing committee for the last 8 years. This is my 9th year.
Was that a Freudian thing?
Yeah, my final year. Because and the reason I did it is because I felt it was important, and I think the AHA has improved over the last 8 years dramatically. And I think it really is focused on servicing the needs of the members and truly representing homebrewing in a great and powerful way, and making sure that you all have a voice in government, and a voice, a collective voice, somebody to really represent the hobby. So I really truly believe that it is a good thing for all of us to be AHA members. And not everybody can afford it. I understand. It's like $38, and that's not small money for a lot of people nowadays. Tough economic times. But if you can, when you can afford it, I suggest it's worth doing. And an easy way to do it, you go to the Brewing Network site, brewingnetwork.com. There's a link there to sign up, and when you do, a few of the bucks goes back to the Brewing Network and helps the Brewing Network at the same time. So you're helping out yourself, you're helping out the community of home brewing, and you're helping out the Brewing Network all in one. And it's truly a good thing. I really believe that, or I wouldn't be saying it. So check that out when you get a chance. I think the AHA deserves your support, just like the Brewing Network does, and bless you for thinking of both. All right, we're talking about the loans, and we're talking about John. You brought up a question on the return on investment. So there's this thing called Regulation D offerings, and if you're looking for certain amounts of money, I think the first price point is like $1 million or less. You can actually offer stock, and you can, without this serious filing with the SEC, there's a Reg D 506 offering or 504, whatever it is, and you can offer stock to people and take their money, and you register with the various states once you do, and it's actually a pretty easy way to when it's family, it's one thing, you can kind of get away with it easy, and they become they're board members and part of the company. But when you want just people to be investors, then you need to do something like this Reg D offering. And the current rules require that you cannot generally solicit for investors. So it needs to be people I could talk to JP if he had any money about investing in Heretic.
I got $1.
I could talk to John Palmer, my friends who already know my business and all that stuff. I could talk to them about it, and they could invest. But you can't. I couldn't get on the air and say, "Oh, come invest in Heretic," because we're offering stock. That wouldn't be allowed, because that would be general solicitation to people I don't know. Everybody still needs to be an accredited investor, so they have to have millions of dollars, or they're making $200,000 a year, things like that. So they have to have a lot of money, because they don't want people that don't know a lot about investing in these things without oversight, because there's no oversight by the SEC on these things. But it allows you a way to offer stock, and as long as it's small enough offering to get that money, and you're limited to like 35 investors. The interesting thing is Obama signed the Jobs America thing back April 5th, and what was supposed to happen was, I guess he directed the SEC to loosen up on the rules on cloud funding and Reg D offerings for solicitation, so that these smaller companies could get started a little bit easier, could get their funding a little bit easier. And that was supposed to go into effect July 5th of this year, 2012. But the SEC got an extension for kind of figuring out the impact of that. And I believe the extension is to August 30th or something like that. At that point, they're directed to offer up, allow people to generally solicit for Reg D offerings, and to change the rules on cloud funding, things like that. They may also change the accredited investor limits. So instead of needing, $1 million in assets, you may need like $5 million all of a sudden. Instead of needing $200,000 a year in annual income, you may need $1 million in annual income. Who knows? They may change those numbers as well. So it may actually make it much harder for small businesses to get started than before. You'll have general solicitation, but you won't be able to go to your friends and get money from your friends anymore, because all of a sudden your friends won't have enough, won't be multimillionaires, and won't be able to invest. So who knows how that's going to change things. But that's, in flux right now this year. But if you can take advantage of it, it's a good way of getting that funding in. And you decide, how much ownership of the company you're giving up, and, in exchange for how much money. You need to set a balance on that. The interesting thing is you can do common stock. So the stock that as founder of the company that I hold in Heretic is common stock. It's the it's the stock with it's the ownership of the company. There's another thing called preferred stock, and the reason they have preferred stock, and they, don't take my strict advice on anything. Go talk to your attorneys and all this when you set this up. But preferred stock allows you to set up separate kinds of stock with different kinds of rules. It's not necessarily any better or any worse than common stock. It just has a separate set of rules. So you could do things like John was talking about returns on investment. I could set up preferred stock that generates a 5% dividend, let's say, annually. So you invest in my company, I'm saying, well, you get a 5% return on your investment every year. And then, at some point, maybe the dividend goes away, or maybe it's always there, or maybe, the stock converts at some point to common stock, or, that preferred stock has no voting rights, or it has, this, that, or the other thing. You ever heard of a poison pill to prevent takeover of a company?
No.
All right, so when a company has, they don't want people to take it over, they issue a share of preferred stock, right? So I would set up this share of preferred stock that I would own myself, and then if somebody tries to take over the company, certain rules come into place where it allows me to do this, that, or the other thing, or it's just this super set of rules that comes into play. Which they call a poison pill. And that's done with preferred stock. So you could set up this preferred stock. You could have this say, all right, you're going to get 5% on your money annually, and you could set up to a point where that stock, that dividend is guaranteed, and it's paid every year or every quarter or whatever. Or it could be that dividend's going to get paid. It may get pushed to the future, but you'll always get that money. Someday we'll pay you. Or it may be, that dividend will get paid if we can afford it. So you could set it up a multiple of ways. The issue is, you can set all this stuff up, and it may make somebody feel better about investing in the company, but to me, it's a lie. Because, I don't know that you can really guarantee that, right? If you could, then it's fine. You should do it. But I think people that, base their investment decisions on that, I think that they're getting a false sense of security. And maybe that's what you want to do. You want to give people a false sense of security in your business and not really pay them in the end. I don't know. But those are the kinds of things you can set up. You can set up dividends. You could set up all sorts of special rules on preferred stock where, all right, you invest, you get this, and then 5 years in, we return half of your money that you paid for the stock, and the rest becomes common stock, or all sorts of rules and all sorts of ways of setting it up. So I would suggest, if you're interested in this, you look at the Reg D. There's websites out there about Regulation D offerings. Tons of them. Just Google them, and you can read about this. And there's companies that'll set you up. There's some companies that'll do it for cheap. Some companies that'll do it for ridiculously high amounts of money. But it is something that is available in order to get money for your brewery. All right, one thing I wanted to touch on before we get into questions and wrapping this up is...
Speaking of touching.
Speaking of touching yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and others.
If you like to touch yourself and others.
I do. A lot, actually. I've been arrested several times.
It's actually a pretty good segue there.
Thank you,
buddy. You want to get yourself over to adamandeve.com. They're our good sponsors, been with us for quite a while now. And at adamandeve.com, you're going to get a great deal. If you go in there, you can enter the offer code Jamil, Jamil, and when you do, they're going to do a few things for you. You're going to get 3 free adult DVDs, and they're DVDs that you get to choose your own genres. You get to choose from genres such as anal, amateur, Asian, big breasts, big butts, bisexual, chunky, co-eds, fetish, gay, interactive point of view, lesbian, MILFs, and Brewcaster on Brewcaster, Brewcaster on Animal, Animal on Brewcaster, etc.
Use your headphones if you're at work.
Use your headphones, yeah, and a one of those privacy screens if you're at work. No, check them out. They got thousands of products. What was it? 18,000 products?
I think it's something like that, like 18,000
products. Yeah. You use the offer code Jamil, Jamil. You're going to get 50% off of almost any one item off the site there. You're going to get 3 free adult DVDs, and you get to choose from all those categories and more. It's not just they're going to send you the
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, the goat and green Jello DVDs. You get to choose.
You're not getting a stag film from the 70s.
Right. You're gonna get free shipping and a free extra gift. So essential we can't mention on the air. So go check it out. You can even shop on your mobile phone. You go to adamandeve.com and on your mobile phone, and you can do this while you're in the privacy of the stall at work. While you're touching yourself.
That's right.
Go check it out today. Good sponsors and help paying for this program. All right. So now we talked about touching yourself. All right. One of the things that we kind of touched on earlier is a lot of times people want to save money in setting up their brewery. We talked about nanos and things like that. And you need to be very careful when you're calculating how much money you need. The tendency is to, well, if I reduce the number of kegs I purchase down to 2, I can from 2,000 down to 2, I save money that way. Oh, I'll make my brew length smaller. I'll go from 15 barrels, I'll go down to 7 barrels, and I'll save money that way. And, you're looking to cut corners and save money in order to finance this thing. And I understand that desire, but you need to be very careful because as your volume grows, your process becomes more cost effective. You need to look at how much it costs you to produce an ounce of beer and how much you can sell that ounce of beer for. And when you get small enough, imagine as a home brewer, brewing an ounce of beer at a time. How much does that cost you to brew an ounce of beer versus brewing 5 gallons of beer? It's cheaper to brew, if you look at it as cost per ounce, it's cheaper for you to brew 5 gallons at a time, right? Mm-hmm. Just the cost of driving to the homebrew store for ingredients, the cost of the equipment. If you scaled everything at an ounce, the cost of everything, your labor.
10-gallon batch versus a 5, there's really no additional time at all.
Right, and your additional cost, the cost between the 10-gallon kettles and the 5-gallon kettles, not a whole lot. It's certainly not twice as much. The same thing on ingredients. So, well, you double your ingredients, but ingredients is actually a small part of the cost when you look at brewing. So you need to look at your costs by the ounce. You need to look at your profits by the ounce. And kind of figure out where you're going. If you cannot sell the beer for more than it costs you to make it by the ounce, then you're in real trouble. So you want to make sure that you do that math and avoid dialing it down too small, trying to save on your initial capital, because it'll screw you in the end. It'll put you out of business. You won't be able to make money at it. And you need, like we said in the first show, this is a business of selling beer and making a profit at selling beer. It's not, the only time it's a business for fun and enjoying yourself is if you're ridiculously wealthy to start with and you want to throw away money. Otherwise, it's a business of selling beer, and you need to keep that in mind. All right.
But craft beer is not a brand. Craft beer is about the experience and about enjoyment. Yeah, it's a pure thing, man. And I think once you bring in profit into it, you just totally ruin it, man.
Well, there you go.
You want to try my homebrew?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with any questions from the chat right after this.
When Blickman Engineering set out to design a great brewing stand, they knew it had to be strong, adaptable, and last for a lifetime. The top-tier brewing stand is now proudly available at BlickmanEngineering.com. It grows with your brewing skills and equipment. Start with 5-gallon coolers on its heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves. Then move all the way up to 30-gallon pots on the high-output burner tiers. Speaking of burners, the custom Blickman Engineering top-tier burners are extremely powerful, efficient, and amazingly quiet. They have safety stops to center your pot hot, and they'll last a lifetime and won't rust. The top-tier brewing stand allows virtually infinite combinations from traditional gravity systems to 2 tiers to completely horizontal. Configure your stand the way you want and have the freedom to change it at any time in the future. Your brewing stand should adapt with you, not force you to learn a new process. Visit BlickmanEngineering.com today to configure your top-tier brewing stand and to find a local Blickman retailer. You'll be surprised with all the flexible features and the competitive price. Start brewing with Blickman from the top tier.
When Michael Fairbrother started moonlighting, he had no idea how quickly his dream was going to grow. Having homebrewed for 15 years, Michael decided to go pro, but not with beer. While attending his homebrew club meetings, he saw ladies knocking their men out of the way to try his mead. Moonlight Meadery is now 2 years old and can produce 200,000 bottles a year. It's the first New Hampshire winery to ever distribute to California and Australia. In fact, you can find Moonlight Meadery meads in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New Hampshire, and they ship direct to 17 states. They produce 56 different varieties of mead and are unlike anything you've ever seen on the market. Michael Fairbrother at Moonlight Meadery is a real success story that can make the BN Army proud. Visit Moonlight Meadery in Londonderry, New Hampshire, or online at moonlightmeadery.com.
Has been lost.
What happened to the city? It's in ruins.
Only one man has the ancient knowledge to restore civilization.
I need a drink. Oh no, the liquor store's been ransacked.
You looking for beer, stranger? Boy, all the liquor got drunk up in the first 25 minutes of the apocalypse.
Wait, there's still some bottles over... Oh, no. Those are non-alcoholic beer.
I reckon you better stick to arrowroot tea and a desperate nomadic existence like the rest of us.
People, I'm a home brewer. I know how to make alcohol. Oh, it can't be done. Come with me if you want the beer. Okay, I'm gonna need some big plastic buckets.
He is the chosen one. The prophecies say that he's gonna get us wasted.
Someone start heating water.
From the creators of Northern Brewer, the people who brought you $7.99 Brew Saver shipping, massive selection, and superior customer service comes the Homebrewer.
Have you ever dreamed of taking a beer tour through Belgium or Germany, but weren't sure how to even start? Or were afraid of missing the best places and events? Or maybe you just wish you had a local insider to take you around? Well, there's only one American tour company featured in the Good Beer Guide to Belgium, Belgian Beer Me. Your personal beer tour guide of Belgium and Germany is ready to go at BelgianBeerMe.com and at BambergBeerMe.com. Founder Stu Stewart personally leads 8 tours a year to Belgium and Germany, visiting the finest breweries, beer cafes, abbeys, and festivals. Don't buy beer stuff, buy a beer experience. Birthday presents, stocking stuffers, and the best honeymoon ever. Couples or individuals love Belgian Beer Me beer tours. Your life is now. Sign up for a beer tour today at Belgian Beer Me or BambergBeerMe.com, because all that beer is not going to drink itself. A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're enjoying a progasm here and talking about financials and where you get the money to open your brewery. Pardon me. A little creek monkey still creeping up on me. Yeah?
I was going to say, what was I going to say? Damn. The creek monkey reference just totally threw me.
Yes.
And I started thinking about beer.
Started thinking about crotch monkeys, didn't you? That's what I always think of. Start getting a little hot and humid.
Oh, well, you were talking about manscaping earlier.
Right. And that's why
I guess a kind of a tangential question. I mean, does the TTB or the city, do any other agencies other than, financial, care where you get your money from? Is one source of money? I mean, if you're looking to get started, I mean, is one source of money easier or better to go for than another?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Like I was saying, TTB cares where you get the money. The ABC cares where you get the money. Other than that, I think you're wide open, and they will ask you, where is the money coming from? How are you funding this brewery? And if your answer is, well, I'm selling crack on the sidelines, things like that, I think it may not fly.
Trapping,
right? SEC cares, if you're selling stock and things like that, and how you're representing it. There is some, oversight, federal oversight, and state oversight of selling shares of a company to people in the United States. So you have to be kind of cautious about that as well. And then, as far as distributors and such, the distribution companies can't invest in your brewery, but people who own stock in a distribution company could buy stock in your company. So that's okay. So that's kind of a thing to be aware of as well. I think that the best money is your own money. If you have the money, you can maintain 100% ownership of the company. You don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. That's the best way to go. Next would be somebody who's really understanding of what it takes to run a brewery, the risks, and somebody who can afford to lose their money. That would be a good one. And somebody who's going to allow you to have control, that would be the next best. Other than that, I think you start to need to be cautious about where you're getting your money, because those some people, they feel like they give you money and then they're going to run your company, or they need a lot of hand holding. It's like, look, you're going to be way too busy running your business to be hand holding people. Yeah, you need to fill them in on what's going on, but if they need constant reassurance that their money is safe, then you've gotten money from the wrong people. You don't need those people involved in your business, because it's going to screw you up. All right, any questions from the chat?
We do. We have a real good one from Spider Wrangler, and it goes back to your crowdfunding question. He says, I wonder if the guys have heard much about people using crowdfunding type sources. There are 7 breweries that have or are opening this year in Central Ohio. Wow, 7. And a number of them have done Kickstarter.
7 too many.
And a number of them have done Kickstarter or other campaigns. While the amount of money they gain with this isn't a lot in the grand scheme, it seems they're doing it more as a judge of public interest and as a means of advertising.
Right.
What do you guys think of that?
No, I think any sort of social thing you can do to get people aware and get any sort of buzz going, I think is a good thing. If you can get money out of it at the same time, that's great. I think there's a potential for backlash there, where those people are, I didn't get anything out of this, But if you're promising, it's like, well, you'll get a free growler and, we'll shake your hand at the brewery type of thing, like a lot of those things do, then I don't see anything wrong with it. As long as you can fulfill that and make those people happy later on, and feel like, they got their money's worth, what they were promised they got, and maybe a little bit more, then I'm cool with it. But if you promise people things and then don't deliver, I got a real problem with that, because not only I think it's wrong, but I think it's going to have a backlash on you, and these people are going to go out and say, oh, they said they would do this, and I, put my $25 in it, I got screwed.
Right.
And it's going to hurt you more than you could ever imagine. So never screw any of your investors, because, then you're, literally, not, or figuratively, not literally. Literally is probably okay.
Well, it might be real good.
Right.
I think as a means of advertising, it kind of misses the mark, because you get funding, you get $25,000 or whatever. You're not going to do much with it.
Right.
First of all, that pays for maybe some licensing and whatever. But what, 6 months to a year after maybe you're open, maybe.
Right.
By then, there's already another brewery open. People have moved on. I think the craft beer market is very volatile, where you're vying for people's attention all the time. So,
but I think
they might remember going, "Oh, hey, you were."
I think socially, I think once they part with the money, I think that socially they feel involved, and they're going to help promote it because they've invested.
True, yeah, probably.
So I think that might be one of the ways.
But I wonder if you do that campaign to help start your opening. Where you get your money from traditional services, loans and whatever, and then maybe you can do
some extra money. It's like, help build our tasting room, maybe.
Something like that, and then your brewery.
I think the Heretic Tasting Room could be built off of something like that.
I think so too. That was it.
Right? No, I think that's. I think JP, you bring up some excellent points, and
I'm an excellent guy.
Yeah, I think that that's something to consider, and the whole cloud funding thing. The rules are changing on those are in play. Technically, that might have been illegal. So now it's kind of like written into the jobs thing. Okay, we'll allow that. And so, keep an eye on that. Those are always changing, and you need to be very careful of what you promise people on those things, because that can get you in trouble as well. So check that out. All right, if you're listening live, stay tuned, especially you, Spider Wrangler. He's always there for us, and we appreciate that.
That's true.
We're going to have another live show for you coming up next. And if you're listening to the podcast, it's going to be about 2 weeks. Check out our store, thebrewingnetwork.com. Lots of goodies in there for you to buy. I just signed a whole bunch of yeast books, so there's signed yeast books available in the store today.
That's right.
And check out all the other goodies that are available. JP was sorting through them. I saw lots of good shirts and hats and things like that.
Yeah, we have a lot of new old merch. We call retro merch. So all of our leftover Winterfest, Summerfest crap. Yeah, $5.
There you go.
$5 get you a new T-shirt. I think maybe hoodies are $20.
Nice.
They're a pretty good deal. And so check those out.
Belgian beer glasses, things like that.
Yes, sir.
You can also subscribe to BYO magazine.
That's true.
And get set up with that, and half of that subscription price goes to the Brewing Network, which is a good deal for you. You get a great magazine, good deal for the Brewing Network. You help support programming like this, and very cool overall. And see John in Buenos Aires.
In Buenos Aires.
August 13th through 16th?
Yep. Well, the conference itself, I think, is the 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. But I'll be there a little ahead of time, and I'm there a couple days afterward.
Yeah, chewing those cocoa leaves, dude.
Is that a euphemism for something?
No,
chew my cocoa leaves, baby.
Literally. Anyway.
All right. Well, until then, brew strong.
Brew strong, everybody.